In the previous two videos, we have discussed some 10 most likely to be asked questions from basic soil properties and pile foundation. Now in this video, we continue that series with consolidation and compressibility. Now let's get into it. First question is compression index of a soil helps to determine. So what is compression index? It is nothing but a relation between void ratio and stress in a log scale. So compression index of a soil helps to determine what? Option A, total time for consolidation. Option B, time required for 50% consolidation. Option C, total settlement for clay layer. Option D, pre-consolidation pressure of clay. So uh, what is the parameter that will be determined by using CC value, compression index? Your time starts now. So the correct option is option C, total settlement for clay layer is determined using compression index. How? Because total settlement means it represents the del H value. Del H is equal to Cc by 1 plus E naught H naught log of sigma naught bar plus del sigma bar divided by sigma naught bar. So this is how Cc is used to determine the del H, that is total settlement for clay layer. Now let's see other parameters that are discussed in consolidation chapter. CC and MV are used to determine total settlement of clay layer. What is MV? It's a coefficient of volume change. What is CC? Compression index. Compression index is significant for NCC, that is non-consolidated clay. Sorry, normally consolidated clay. Normally consolidated clay, for that CC is significant, and CC does not depend upon effective stress, because we consider only the difference between the stress value. So it does not depend on effective stress. Coefficient of volume change, that is M suffix V, is the ratio of unit volume change per unit increase in effective stress. So this is the definition for coefficient of volume change. What is coefficient of compressibility? This is nothing but it is same as compression index. Compression index and coefficient of compressibility are one and same. Only difference is compression index is found by using the log values, that is log scale. But coefficient of compressibility is a linear scale, not a logarithmic scale. But both relates the void ratio and stress curve only. But here we use only linear one. In compression index we use only the log scale to find the relation between two values, that is void ratio and stress values. So that's why compression index has no unit, but coefficient of compressibility has unit of meter square per kilonewton. Now let's move on to next question, second one. During consolidation process of a saturated clay, what happens? Option A, a gradual decrease in neutral pressure and a gradual increase in effective pressure occurs, and sum total of two remains constant. What is neutral pressure? It is nothing but the pore pressure. So what happens? A gradual decrease in neutral pressure and increase in effective pressure, so that sum total of the two, that is total stress, remain constant. Or option B, neutral pressure increases gradually and there is a gradual decrease in effective pressure, so that sum total of both the things remains constant. Option C, both neutral pressure and effective pressure or effective stress decreases. Option D, both the things increases. So what is the option? Just think for it 10 seconds. So the correct option is option A. There will be a gradual decrease in neutral pressure, because how decrease in neutral pressure? Because during consolidation process, water gets expelled out. So there will be a decrease in neutral pressure, and correspondingly there will be increase in effective pressure because it is consolidating, so that water and air, especially water in voids, gets expelled out. Therefore pore pressure decreases and thereby increasing the effective pressure. So in order to equalize or normalize it, sum total of the two, that is total pressure, total stress, remains constant. Now let's see some more important points. So this is the first point we have already discussed here. Sigma bar plus U, that is effective stress plus pore pressure, remains constant. And during consolidation process, there are two types of consolidation: primary and secondary. In primary consolidation, soil, when the soil is fully saturated one, there will be expulsion of water and laminar flow takes place. What is laminar flow? When Reynolds number is 1 and there will be a flow like uh, in laminas, layer by layer. So laminar flow happens and it is a time dependent one, and excess pore pressure reduces because expulsion of water is there, thereby excess pore water pressure reduces and effective stress increases and sum total remains constant. Here you can see the diagram, void ratio versus log time. This is a primary consolidation happening over here, and it is a time dependent one. And after that secondary compression happens. What is secondary consolidation? It is a plastic readjustment of solids, and it happens only in plastic soils, that is plastic clay we can say. And secondary consolidation is slower than primary consolidation. It happens very slow when compared to primary consolidation. So that's why this curve becomes something steeper. Sorry, this curve becomes something with a reduced slope. You can see here secondary compression. And while in more plastic soils, it can be up to 10 to 20% of volume change during secondary consolidation. So this is how consolidation happens with the two ways, primary and secondary is only for more plastic clay. Let's discuss the third question. It is a numerical answer type question. You have to calculate using the given data to find the answer. The results of a consolidation test on an undisturbed soil sampled at a depth of 10 meter below ground level. So at a depth of 10 meter below ground level, a soil sample is taken, and that soil sample has saturated unit weight of 18 kilonewton per meter cube. Pre-consolidation pressure that is given as 120 kilonewton per meter square, and water table is found at the ground level. So water table is at ground level only. We have to choose the correct options. It is a MSQ type, multiple select question. More than one option can be correct. Effective stress at 10 meter depth is 80 kilonewton per meter square. Option B. Soil is over consolidated. Option C. Soil is normally consolidated. Option D. OCR, that is nothing but over consolidation ratio is 1.5. We have to find all of the options to get whether the option A is correct or not, option B is correct or not, option C is like that, so that we can get the correct options. Not only one option is correct, more than one options are correct. We have to find whether OCR is 1.5 or not. We have to calculate such a way. So pause this video and calculate the uh, question with the options. So the correct options, that is correct answers, are option A, B and D. So soil is over consolidated and it is not normally consolidated. Let's see how it is calculated. First they have given uh, sigma p. Sigma p is nothing but pre-consolidation pre-consolidation pressure. Okay, pre-consolidation not. It is a present stress. Pre-consolidation is denoted by sigma c bar. Sigma suffix p is denoted as uh, present stress, present existing stress. So how to calculate that? Gamma sat minus gamma w into depth. Depth. What is the depth? 10 meter. So gamma sat. Gamma sat is nothing but 18. And what is gamma w? Gamma w is we can say 10 or 9.81 actually, but consider here as 10 kilonewton per meter cube, so that gamma sat minus gamma w into z, that is 8 into 10, gives the 80 kilonewton per meter square as the present existing stress, and that is less than actual pre-consolidation pressure, that is past existed. So what it means, it is over consolidated. When present is less than the pre-consolidation pressure, then it is known as over consolidated one. Otherwise it is normally consolidated, because uh, present is more than the past existed pressure or past existed stress. It means it is normally consolidating. But here present stress is less than the past existed pressure or past existed stress. That means the soil strata is over consolidated. And how to find the OCR ratio? Past by present, past stress divided by present stress. So by dividing these two things, we get answer as 1.5. So OCR is 1.5, then it is correct. So now we have calculated the effective stress, that is present existing stress at depth of 10 meter as 80, and so that option A is correct. And it is over consolidated by comparing present and past values, and by using the OCR formula, we got OCR value as 1.5. So this is how we have to calculate every parameter in this question. Now let's see what is pre-consolidated pressure and what is OCR and how it is inferred. Pre-consolidated pressure means the maximum pressure to which an over-consolidated soil had been subjected in the past. This is how we have already seen. What is pre-consolidated pressure? This is the maximum pressure that is existed in an OC soil, that is over-consolidated soil, in the past. And when OCR is greater than 1, we call that soil as OC soil. When OCR is less than 1, we call that soil as NC soil. Now in this graph, you can find a point, pre-consolidation pressure point. What is that? Sigma C. Sigma C is the pre-consolidation pressure point. How it is calculated? By making the tangents to meet up at a one point. This is one tangent line, this is one other tangent line. The two tangent line meet at this point, so that we can get the pre-consolidation pressure exactly, because this curve is a curve. We can't find where the exact point lies, so that we are drawing two tangents, and where they meet is the point where pre-consolidation pressure value is got by using the wide ratio versus effective stress graph. Wide ratio versus effective stress graph for the consolidation curve for saturated clay. This is how we have to find pre-consolidation pressure point. Now let's move on to fourth question. Root time method is used to determine. There are some two methods used to determine one of the parameters in consolidation part. So what is that parameter? Whether it is time factor, or it is coefficient of consolidation, or it is coefficient of compressibility, or it is coefficient of volume change. So what is that parameter is determined using the root time method. The time starts now. So coefficient of consolidation is the parameter that is used to determine, that is determined by using the root time method. And what is the other method of determining the coefficient of consolidation, we will see now. So there are two methods, as I said in the first statement. Two methods to determine CV, that is coefficient of consolidation, are the square root of time method and logarithm of time method. These are the two methods used to determine CV values, coefficient of consolidation. What is square root time method? It is a method that relates u, that is degree of consolidation, and root of time factor, and it is linear up to 60%. This curve is linear up to 60%. You can see in this diagram, this is the root time method, and this curve is linear up to what? 60% of consolidation. up to 60% of consolidation, it is linear, and thereby it reduces to some curve and gets asymptotic to the horizontal axis. This curve gets asymptotic to the horizontal axis. So this is the root time method, and it is devised by Taylor. Another method is a logarithmic method. It is devised by Cassegrain, and it relates between two degree of consolidation and log of time factor. So this is the graph for logarithmic method of determining the CV. So it has three parts. First part is parabolic. This part is parabolic, and this part is linear, and this part is asymptotic to horizontal axis. So this is the some important points regarding logarithmic method, and these are some important points regarding square root time method. So square root time method is linear up to u 60 percentage, and thereby it reduces to some curve, and it is between degree of consolidation and root of time factor, and it is devised by Taylor. Logarithmic method devised by Cassegrain between u1 log of time factor. It has three parts: parabolic, linear, and asymptotic, an asymptotic curve to the horizontal axis. Now let's move on to fifth question. It is a numerical type question. Clay specimens of soils A and B are tested for finding consolidation properties. So two specimens of clay are taken to find consolidation properties. So for a certain pressure range, ratio of this MV, what is MV? Coefficient of volume change. So MV for clay sample A is to MV for clay sample B is found as 2:1. And coefficient of consolidation for both the samples is found as ratio of 16:9, and ratio of coefficient of permeability. Now we want to find the ratio of coefficient of permeability Ka is to Kb. So there is only one relation, an important relation or formula we can say to find this coefficient of permeability value. So option A 8:9, option B 4:9, option C 16:9, option D 32:9. So pause this video and calculate to get the answer of coefficient of permeability. So the correct answer is the ratio of 32:9, coefficient of permeability between the soils A and B. So now let's see how it is calculated. So only one formula, that is CV is related by, CV is directly proportional to coefficient of permeability and inversely proportional to MV. So CV is equal to K by MV into gamma W. Or we can say MV is how MV is related. How MV is related? This is related as AV, that is coefficient of compressibility divided by 1 plus initial void ratio, or you can say E naught. So this is how AV is also related with CV. Whether we can use this formula or this formula. For this question, we have to use this formula only. CV is equal to K by MV into gamma W. So substituting all the things, they have given MV and they have given CV also. So substituting these two values, we can get K, or we can say coefficient of permeability. So therefore, K is to KB is 32:9. Now let's move on to sixth question. For a certain loading condition, a saturated clay layer undergoes 40% consolidation, and in a period of 178 days. The additional time required for further 20% consolidation is what? So they have given one degree of consolidation with that corresponding time period. We have to find another 20% consolidation, that is nothing but 60% consolidation to occur in what time, and what is that additional time required. Option A 250.3 days, option B 222.5 days, option C 150 days, option D 400.5 days. So we have to calculate using the correct formula, because for less than 60%, one formula is there. Greater than 60% of consolidation, there is another formula. So we have to use the correct formula to get the answer. Now the answer is option B, 222.5 days. Now let's see how it is calculated. TV is equal to pi by 4 u square when u is less than or equal to 60 percentage. When u is less than or equal to 60 percentage, TV is calculated by using this formula pi by 4 u square. Therefore, T and U are directly related and it is square. How? TV is given by CVT by D square. TV and T are directly related and T is directly related to U square. So that's why we are adopting this relation. T1 is equal to, so T1 by T2 is equal to what? U1 by U to the whole square. By using this formula, T2 is D2 is calculated as 400.5 days. But we require only the additional time, not the total time required for 60% consolidation. We require only the additional time because for 40% consolidation 178 days is taken. Then what is the additional time required? 400.5 minus 178 gives the answer as 222.5 days. Option D is given as 400.5 days. We should not be mistaken. We should not mistaken the answer as 400.5 days because they have asked the additional time required. So 400.5 minus 178 gives the answer as 222.5 days, and that is nothing but the option B. And what is the other formula when u is greater than 60 percentage? TV is equal to 1.781 minus 0.933 log base 10 100 minus u in percentage. So this is the formula we require to calculate a time factor value when u is greater than 60 percentage. 1.781 minus 0.933 log base 10 100 minus u percentage. And now let's see the some important values to be remembered for the corresponding degree of consolidation. For 50% degree of consolidation, TV value is 0.9197. How it is calculated? Pi by 4 50 square. So pi by 4 50 square gives the answer as 0.197. For 60% consolidation, it is 0.287. For 90% consolidation, it is 0.848 is the time factor. So this is some important values to be remembered so that calculation time gets reduced. We have to remember. For 50% is 0.197, for 60% is 0.287, for 90% of consolidation, uh, TV value is got by using this formula 1.781 minus 0.933 log base 10 100 minus 90 gives the answer as 0.848. So these are some three important data we have to remember. Now let's move on to seventh question. Seventh question is based on sand drains. So during installation of sand drains, the clay around the drain. So clay around the drain may get remolded. So obviously it gets remolded due to expulsion of water and some disturbance caused by sand drains. So thus it reduces the value of coefficient of consolidation. So what is this phenomenon known as? What is this act, or what is this known as? What is this effect? Option is whether it is settlement effect. Option B whether it is a swelling and shrinkage effect. Option C is smear effect. Option D it is called as radial compression. What is the correct notation or correct definition we got from this process? So the correct option is option C, smear effect. So this is a term. Smear means nothing but radial compression due to the sand drains. So this is the smearing effect. So let's see some more important points regarding this. Slow consolidation can be accelerated by vertical sand drains. So whenever there is the consolidation process has to be get faster, we can use sand drains. But the magnitude of settlement is unaffected. If a soil has some compression index and has a depth of around say some 3 meter or 4 meter and effective stress of some value and difference in effective stress of some value, then SF will be the same whether we use vertical sand drains or not. So that's why they have given magnitude of settlement is unaffected. Only the rate of settlement gets faster by using sand drains. It also reduces permeability in radial direction. So this is called as the smear effect. So in radial direction, uh, we can reduce the permeability. Sand drains control landslides and it also reduces the drainage path. So this is the function of sand drain. These are the function of sand drains we are adapting to get rate of consolidation faster. You can check more on this NPTEL course smear effect. I have provided this link in the description. You can refer to this NPTEL to get more on sand drains. Now let's move on to 8th question. Pressure acting on a footing is given as 40 kilopascal. If the elastic modulus is 50,000 kilopascal and Poisson's ratio of that clay layer is 0.4, and the influence factor for the strip footing is of type strip footing of width 1.2 meter and it has influence factor of 1.75, the elastic settlement of the footing will be what? This is exactly a mere substitution problem in the elastic or immediate settlement formula. Thus substitute all the values in correct units so that you can get the answer. So option C 14.1 mm, option D is 141.0 mm. Just substitute all the values with corresponding units to get the answer. A mere substitution problem only. Nothing has to be found. So the answer is option B 1.41 mm. Let's see how it is calculated. It is a clay layer. So what it means, a cohesive layer or cohesive soil. For cohesive soil, so immediate settlement or elastic settlement is given by SI is equal to QB into 1 minus nu square by E IF. What is Q? They have given pressure. Pressure acting on footing as 40 kilopascal. So Q is given. What is B? Width of strip footing. What is that? 1.2 meter. 1 minus nu square. What is nu? Poisson's ratio. They have given us 0.4. What is E? Elastic modulus or Young's modulus? 50,000 kilopascal. Substitute here. What is influence factor? 1.75. So all data in this formula are given. Just we have to substitute with relevant units so that we can get the answer in mm, not in meter or centimeter or anything. So we have to get the answer in mm. Correspondingly we have to apply or apply the what all the data in respective units so that we can get the answer. What if in case of cohesionless soil, what if this layer is sand or some gravelly layer? When that happens, SI is equal to H naught by CS log 10 sigma naught bar plus del sigma bar divided by sigma naught bar. So this is the formula we have to adopt when soil is cohesionless or soil strata is cohesionless. So what is CS? CS is given by this formula 1.5 CR by sigma naught bar. What is CR? Recompression index. So 1.5 CR by sigma naught bar gives the CS value. We have to substitute that value in CS here so that we can get the immediate settlement value in corresponding units. So H naught by CS log base 10 sigma naught bar plus del sigma by sigma naught bar for cohesionless soil. For cohesive soil, we use this formula. Now let's move on to 9th question. Permissible total settlement for isolated foundation on plastic clay is, it is standard value or it is a permissible settlement value and it's given in IS code IS 1904. Option A 25 mm, option B 75 mm, option C 50 mm, option D 65 mm. So what is the total permissible settlement or allowable settlement we can say for an isolated foundation constructed on plastic clay? It is based on an IS code IS 1904. So the allowable settlement is 75 mm in an isolated foundation on plastic clay. Now let's see other strata corresponding the foundation. So as per IS 1904, for type of foundation isolated or raft, we can get the allowable foundation. For dense, when the strata is dense sand or stiff clay, for isolated foundation it is 50 mm, for raft it is 75 mm. For plastic clay, in an isolated foundation, 75 mm is the allowable settlement value, but there is an exception for steel structure. For steel structure, it is only 50 mm. For other like RCC and various other structures, it can be 75 mm. For raft foundation, it is 100 mm. So this is how we have to refer the IS code to get the allowable settlement value. And let's see some more points. Maximum differential settlement is 25 mm for sand and 40 mm for clays. So what is the differential settlement? That distortion happening between two columns, two adjacent columns or like that. So that differential settlement can be maximum up to 25 mm in case of sand or cohesionless soil, and in case of clays it has to be maximum 40 mm differential settlement. And another term, angular distortion, is given by del by L. What is del? Del is the Del is the differential settlement between two columns divided by L. L is the spacing of columns. So angular distortion is given by del by L. L is the spacing of columns, not the length of pile or something like that. L is the spacing of columns. Spacing of columns. So these are as per IS 1904. You can find that values. So for isolated footing in dense sand and stiff clay, 50 mm. For rat or matte foundation, it is 75 mm. For plastic clay in isolated foundation, it is 75 mm. But for steel structure, it is 50 mm. And for raft, it is 100 mm. Now let's see the last question, 10th one. Terzaghi's consolidation theory is applicable to one-dimensional consolidation test for what? Option A, small load increments ratios. Option B, large load increment ratios. Option C, load increment ratio of nearly 1. Option D, situations where excess pore pressure, that is neutral pressure, is 0. So what is the correct option for which Terzaghi's consolidation, that is one-dimensional consolidation theory, is applicable for? Whether it is small load increments ratio or large load increment ratio, or that ratio is nearly 1, or when the situation happens when excess pore pressure is 0. So what is the correct option? So the option is A, small load increment ratios. For small load increment ratios, Terzaghi's one-dimensional theory is applicable. So this is one of the assumptions in this Terzaghi's 1D theory. So what are the other assumptions? Let's see that. K and MV are assumed as constant. What is K? Permeability coefficient. What is MV? Coefficient of volume change. These two parameters are considered to be constant, but in reality, MV changes with depth of soil strata. Sigma and E, that is stress and void ratio relationship, is considered to be linear, but in reality, it can be a curve. It cannot be linear or linear exactly. And this theory is applicable only for primary consolidation. We have seen in the first question, in the previous question, consolidation happens in two stages, primary and secondary. But Terzaghi's 1D theory is applicable only for primary consolidation, not for secondary. That is plastic readjustment. That is not applicable in Terzaghi's 1D theory. Hydrodynamic lag is considered, but plastic lag is ignored. So this is synonymous to the secondary consolidation. Plastic readjustment is ignored. So that's why it is only applicable for primary consolidation. That is excess pore pressure is 0. That is the primary consolidation. And the equation in which a one-dimension theory happens is this equation, dou by dou t, that is what different difference in pore water pressure with respect to time is equal to CV is the coefficient of consolidation. Actually, dou u by dou t is directly proportional to dou square u by dou z square, and that proportionality is given by this constant CV. coefficient of consolidation. So this is the important formula regarding 1D theory. Terzaghi's 1D consolidation theory. We are at the end of this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, share to your friends. Thank you. Thanks for watching.